evening, listeners. Welcome to today's Property Focus program from Horizon Properties Limited, and greetings from the team. We continue with our topic looking at the relationship between the tenant and the landlord of business premises. It is governed by CAP 193 of the laws of Zambia. This act is also referred to as the Business Premises Act. To refresh you from on what we discussed last time, we looked at the time required for notification for termination of the lease. We looked at also the justification for the reasons to terminate the contract or the lease, the agreement. We looked at the issue of subletting. We said sublettings are allowed with the consent of the landlord. We also looked at the period required is for termination is the notice. It must be 6 months in an event that you don't have a lease or that specific clause is not defined. We looked at also the issue that I informed you that you could, the landlord may not unjustifiably refuse to renew a business lease. The landlord must have just 5 reasons why they should not renew the lease. In an event that you object to the decision of the landlord, you may proceed to court and obtain a lease from court. That is, if actually you have been abiding by the obligations contained in the lease. I promised last time that I will try to guide you how you could negotiate a commercial lease with the landlord. I'll give you about 4-5 points that may help you to negotiate a lease. However, as I mentioned, commercial leases are quite wordy, and they have got some small words in small fonts which you may overlook, and they may cost you dearly for lack of understanding. I advise that it's very important in this because the bulkiness and the wordiness of the lease, the commercial lease, you should request for the interpretation of a legal practitioner. Number 1, most commercial leases are wordy, long, and intimidating. The landlord needs as much as you need the space to occupy. That's very important. So as I said, because the commercial leases are wordy, long, and intimidating, to remove the intimidation, it's better you consult a legal practitioner to try to interpret. Negotiating terms of the lease. Yes, is it very possible that the tenant can negotiate the terms of the lease in and out? How you go into the lease and how you come out of the lease. You could negotiate. That is most especially before you occupy the premises. The other important issue, salient issue you should need to look at in the clauses and fully understand is the term. The term, how long are you going to occupy the premises? Because this is very important, because you need stability in your business. Therefore, you need to know the term, how long, depending on the nature of the business and experience, and also location. You may need to stay longer in a particular place for your business to pick up, and therefore, you need to negotiate the term. The term, how long are you going to be in the premises? The other important issue which you have to negotiate is repair and innovations, and also to do with their permanent structures, which could be the obligation of the landlord, and also the continuous innovation and upgrade, which may also be of your interest. So these are the terms which you need to negotiate so that you're comfortable both parties are comfortable in the lease. Now, reading and interpretation of a commercial lease. 5.1. Read all the clauses in the lease and understand them very clearly. There will be no claim that I didn't see this, I didn't see this clause, I didn't see this sentence, or I didn't understand. Because when this lease is signed, the law text that all both parties have understood and have agreed and happy. A failure to get a proper interpretation may affect your business in future. Therefore, you need to take your time, and if you don't have that time or the understanding or interpretation, you seek the services of a legal practitioner to be able to interpret the meaning of each and every clause. Some of these leases, or in fact most, there are some fine prints that you may ignore. If you examine most of the leases, there are some fine prints which you may ignore, but they might cost you dearly in future. So therefore, if you go to a legal practitioner, mainly they will look at what are these hidden, these expression or items in the small prints, and they examine all the lease, the content of the lease, and they give a proper interpretation and they guide how to proceed. So listeners, it's very important to understand the commercial lease to avoid inconvenience or misunderstanding between yourself as a tenant and the landlord. We will continue next Tuesday to guide, to give a final advice on commercial leases under the Cap 193, the Business Premises Act. So as our obligation, we'll continue to disseminate information to the public so that they make informed decisions.